used to go up on the railroad trestle.
Oh, yeah.
And then we climb down and we come back through all these woods over to the waterfall.
Right.
Because it was,
Yeah.
it was all tall weeds.
Yeah. Oh, it was a mess back there. And I know when my kids were little, where the embankment is, sometimes there wasn't a train coming in, go up and pick up the little pellets,
Yeah.
iron pellets.
Yeah, nowadays everybody's looking at their phone, they're not doing anything. They're walking around.
You know what, that's a good way for somebody to take over this country because nobody talks and nobody's paying attention.
That's for sure.
It was just like downtown. I felt like sending a letter to the PD to do sometimes and saying, oh, with all this crap downtown that the kids
Street
doing,
takeovers.
I said, what's wrong with using a high pressure fire hose?
Right.
For the clean house.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't hurt people.
Right.
And no more than they deserve. So. Oh, yes.
Did you go yesterday?
No.
What did I do? Lounge chair. Oh, okay. Yeah, on deep loads. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Real good.
Alive? And well. All the time, it's serious. Yeah, really fine. Because why? Tell me why they're so serious. It's just because they're not, like, more so not so serious. Get the job done. Just don't know why. You know.
You guys want one?
Oh, thanks.
I got two. I was been using cheap. I wasn't sure if it was you because.
Hi, I'm
Oh,
Diane.
this is
my neighbor, Diane Meter. This is Barbara McDaniel.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I'll go get my.
Yeah, I'm part of the
keys.
Meter clan.
Oh, Harrison and,
Yeah,
his kids.
Kyle, Chris.
All the K's and a couple D's.
Yeah, Danielle.
Denise and, what was the other one? Denise and,
Danielle and Courtney.
or Danielle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Courtney with a C or Courtney with a K?
See,
I could see their house through my kitchen window across Dennis.
okay.
Yeah.
The old house on,
Center Road, yeah, and their old house
Oh,
over
the
there.
old house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, it's nice to meet you.
yeah, nice to meet you. Which one are you married to?
Kyle,
Kyle. Okay.
the detective.
Right. Was
See,
he
it's
getting
a-
sworn in or something?
Huh?
Oh, I said, is he getting sworn in?
No, he's in retirement, hopefully.
She lives across the
They
street.
got that old already?
Yeah.
Yes. Chris and
Well,
Kevin, Chris and Kevin are retired, both.
Well, of course,
Jeez.
my oldest, who passed away in August, he was 62, so.
Oh,
Oh, sorry
Sorry.
to hear that. I didn't know that.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
Who gets?
I know, but it was on line too,
Uh,
so. But
Yeah, so the trade carried on. Chris's son's a policeman, our son is a policeman. Chip
always helps put together the class reunions because they have, probation.
What's her name? Who? Sally.
Sally.
Yeah, I think that's
But
what
she
you
was
do.
in that team, she taught me.
Set my clock.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
I can't look at the clock.
That's true.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might not be a good idea.
Here, and then this kind of stuff. And then this has to do with the race and schools, but they're.
The rest of them are
No. No.
That's all you got tonight?
And then this is
That's
the
all we
only
need.
one
Yeah.
that is,
Mike's not here.
Oh, everybody's
what
there.
they're saying is that
They're just,
employee.
Oh, they're just slow.
we were right up to the bell here, getting ready to come out, so.
I'll talk to them.
So they'll get
Okay.
that. And then after that, it's, no, no. Because you said you wanted to come see what was going on. Get her whole list. No, okay, okay. You know,
How's that?
she's okay. She didn't feel good today, so. Yeah, we tried to train her. She said, no, I don't.
Are you in the original house or in this race?
I'm living at grandparents' house. Oh, yes.
How many is it? Well, I haven't run around the corner, but fortunately for the last 20 years, they're good people.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marilyn had an appointment, put her eyes, so she can't go.
That's what I said,
Yeah,
I wonder what's going on.
yeah, I know, but it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know. I have the people in there, right across the bridge. And it just got painted.
Oh, yes.
Tell them.
We got 1 minute, 26, 59.
She's such a good yeah, the service. Oh, wow.
Good evening. Welcome to the October 21st meeting of Bedford City Council. Who would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What? Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Here.
Asbury,
Here.
Longino,
Here.
Cochi,
Here.
Spinks, Salvi,
Here.
Fluharty.
Here. And it's our wish to table the minutes of the work session of October 7th and the minutes of the regular meeting of October 7th. I have a motion to table. Tony, second by Jeff. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Here.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Okay, we have the minutes of the budget hearing meeting of October 14th, 2024. Corrections to those? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Spinks, second by Fluharty? Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Under unfinished business, ordinance number 50-24.
Little top here. I got it. Oh, all right. One second, folks, sorry about that. All right, being an ordinance, amending ordinance number 61-23 concerning section 913.02 entitled sewer rates of our ordinances of the city of Bedford relating to sewer rates and declaring an emergency.
Is motion for third and final reading.
No.
Motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Smith. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Before we get into our reports, as we let people come in and introduce themselves, we have Ms. Kriving,
Oh, Krivash.
I'm sorry. If you would take a couple minutes just to introduce yourself, and obviously it's not an endorsement or anything by this council. Courtesy to, if you'd step up to the, because it's being recorded.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Mayor, and thank you, Councilwoman, and everyone that is here. I have lots of friends, and it is nice to meet everyone behind me as well. I am Kira Krivash. I am a magistrate by day and a nonprofit leader by night. I am also running for judge. I am on your ballot currently right now, and will be for the November 5th primary, general election. So I just wanted to stop by and say hello. And, you know, I have nearly 15 years of legal experience, 3.5 of being judicial experience. And I also I have over a decade of leadership experience in nonprofits, as well as being a former substitute teacher. So I did just want to stop by, say my hellos, and I'm grateful for the support that I've received from so many of you. So thank you.
Hey, thank you. I know you got a busy schedule.
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hey, before we get into reports, take my time first this time, because everybody's gonna say the same stuff, so I want to go first. I just want to give a shout out to our recreation department on the trick or treat street they had this past Saturday for the kids. They do a wonderful job down there every year, and used to be every year we do costume judging for the kids, which was fun. And somehow I'd always get stuck with the 2- and 3-year-olds. And, you know, each one that came in was cuter than the next one. And you had to pick 3, and that was the hardest job I ever had doing it. And if you didn't pick the right kid, the parents were mad at you. So anyhow, they do it now where they call Trick or Treat Street, and they set up in the Ellenwood Center with hay bales, a maze, and then they have people stationed around passing out candy, and also a shout out to a bunch of our seniors from the Bedford Seniors Group that volunteered to help support the program and help pass out the candy and stuff. It was really neat to see the seniors with the little kids, and it's always a good thing. And the police and fire were there; they were outside, obviously, and but they do a really good job down there. And I just want to give a shout out to the whole team down there, Mike Callahan and all his staff. So you pass that on; it was a great job. And I also want to mention Mike and I and Jennifer Kuzma were invited over to HICMA, which is the pharmaceutical company on Northfield Road where Zelia was, that just closed their doors. HICMA is buying the Zelia out, and they had us in there to go over some of their ideas for what they want to do there and what they're looking to do, and it was all very encouraging. And to show us that they really want to be here to stay. When they sealed the deal that the sale of the building went through, the next day they were ordering machines that they need to build the drugs and all that, which probably gonna take a couple of years to build, and invest over $60 million into that property. I mean, they have it, they actually did it, so it's not like, yeah, we'll be doing this, they are doing it, and they got the stuff ordered the next day, which was awesome, and it was very encouraging to listen to them. And kind of a neat thing with these pharmaceutical groups, because they're world organizations, there was people in the room from Portugal, from Europe, Spain, I forget where, all over. They got the best set of minds from all over the world, and they're bringing them here to run this company, which is just a great thing. I expect them to be here for a long time. And Mike, you might want to expand a little bit on that, but I just wanted to say welcome to HICMA for stepping up and taking care of that pharmaceutical company. Start with your report.
Thank you, Mayor. And yeah, I'll just kind of add a little to that. For those of you that don't know, HICMA's actually been here for 10 years. They acquired the entire site from Benvenue in 2014. They maintained the research and development building, but they had liquidated the manufacturing to Zelia. And their primary reason was, at the time, there was a consent decree on that facility, and that was not something that they wanted to address. Maybe that's the best way to put it, with the US FDA. Zelia did that. They did a tremendous job. They were able to get that lifted and modified, which opened the door to manufacturing, which they were performing. And when the opportunity came up to reacquire that, HICMA did not bat an eye. They wanted it with those intentions. So, as the mayor said, I think it's very encouraging. They have a lot of plans at the site. We're here to hopefully assist them in any way possible to get them moving. So, also just wanted to touch on in the report, as the mayor said, I won't get into too much other than, thanking all of our departments, service, police, fire, especially Parks and Recreation for the event over the weekend. Huge turnout, which was great. But on top of all of the seniors and the club members who volunteered, which is fantastic, we had volunteers from the Lions Club, some of the other civic organizations, and that was great to see as well. So, well done with that event. And also, the senior club had, a couple weeks ago, they put on a health fair at the center, and another very well-attended event. Dozens and dozens of vendors, and that was, again, something new that the club and the staff have been working on, and it was a success. I only have a couple other items briefly. Reminder, trick or treat is on the 31st from 6 to 8. Be cautious if you're driving, if you're out that night. A lot of children, hopefully the weather cooperates. We will also be out, police and fire, and distributing candy to the children. Rita has notified us that they did mail out 900 plus letters to non-filers from 2022. So if you do get that letter, there's a couple of ways to get that filing completed. It's identified in the letter. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact us, the City of Bedford. We can guide you in the right direction. Lastly, I just want to mention that there is a new Code Red system that's going to be available to the public. And our staff is actually currently going through some training on this new system. And it'll be an alert system. It's much more advanced than previous years, or the previous system, I should say. The last system, it did not allow us the ability to designate certain areas. For instance, if there was a water break up in Councilman Fluharty's ward, we'd have to send an alert and everybody would get it. Now we have the ability to utilize GIS systems and we can designate a certain area where if we need to send something out, or if there's down power lines, or if there's something that only affects a certain area of town, we can utilize that. But also you can get alerts from the National Weather Service. If those go out and you are registered in the Code Red system, you'll get those as well. So once we complete our training, and we have a number of different departments and staff members that are going through that, we'll be able to get the information out to all of you to re-register. If you're already registered, it's not going to make a difference. You have to re-register. So look for that information to be in the water bill over the next couple months, as well as we'll be having information sent out here. Obviously, as we get into next year, it's crazy to think that already, but we'll have our ward meetings and we'll have that information available at that time as well. But it's going to be a much more advanced system, and I think we'll be able to better utilize it to send notifications out. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Montello.
Just wish everybody a happy Halloween. Other than that, no report.
Mrs. Howland.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have a report tonight. Thanks.
Mr. Smith.
Good evening, everyone. I have just a couple of things, little minor things. First, I'd like to congratulate the Patrolman of the Year. Can you help me out with the name?
Brandon Thompson.
Brandon Thompson. And what about fire? What's that?
I'm not sure.
Okay, not sure about the fireman, but there will be a event that's on November 2nd at the Eagles Club, having a dinner or whatever. It's $15. But I just wanted to say congratulations to Patrolman of the Year and Fireman of the Year. Lastly, please slow down on Turney Road. There's a digital sign, a blinking sign which tells you that how fast you're going. Please pay attention to that. I don't want you to get a ticket because I think eventually, I've seen some people come through there. As a matter of fact, this morning, a young lady came around a car up at the top by the tracks up there, coming back toward the elementary school there. She had to be doing about 70 miles an hour. She came around the car. She was heading into that dip. That dip is very, very dangerous. So please slow down. In the report.
Thank you. Mr. Asbury.
Thank you, Mayor. No real report. I would just like to give some information that might be helpful. If you haven't early voted or you already or sent your ballots in by mail, which I don't personally recommend because the U.S. mail is a little less than stellar nowadays. But my wife and I went down Friday to the Board of Elections downtown and we voted. There were probably 70 to 80 people in line ahead of us. The total time it took us in and out was 34 minutes. So they're very well organized, and this was in the midst of a power outage. We got up to the intersection of 30th and whatever it is there when you're coming off the freeway. The street lights were out. Board of Elections had no power on the first floor, but Director Perlotti and his team did a fantastic job. Like I said, 34 minutes in and out. It was a little warm because the air wasn't running, but they're doing a really good job down there. So they've got, I didn't write down their hours, but if you go to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections website, their hours are listed. If you don't want to stand in line on election day, it's a good option for you. So, end of report.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me. First, I want to give another shout out with it being almost the end of October, Breast Cancer Survivor Awareness Month. Got another pretty pink tie, by the way, if anybody looking, everybody out there. So I just want to make that aware because hit check, anybody out there that's looking. So I want to talk about that, just bring that. I want to talk about the Bedford Friends of the Library. They're having their last meeting of the year on October 24th at the Bedford Library. It starts at 7 o'clock, and one of my good friends, constituents, constituents and neighbors, Andrew Glazer is in charge of that. Good guy. I have to admit, I hadn't been there since I was running, and I went there to talk to people, so I got to make sure I go this week too. So I'll be there Thursday as well at 7 o'clock. Halloween, talk about that. Everybody probably going to talk about it. And being a police officer, Bedford police officers are great when it comes to being out there and being seen with their lights on and riding around everywhere you look during Halloween. They're there. So be careful when you're driving, because I don't think everybody thinks about the fact that all those Halloween costumes are pretty dark, so you can't see them and they don't reflect. So parents, if you're out there, just get a glow stick or something and actually put on your kids and hold their hand, because we know how the little ones are dart out in the street or dart out somewhere, you know. So just be careful and watch for your kids. Fall cleanup. It's fall, and I know that white stuff will be coming down pretty soon. So let's go ahead and get our yards together, because I have had a few of my neighbors and my man Mike, who's always on the money about everything, helped me out and followed up on some stuff that the neighbors had told me about some of their other neighbors in their yards and some of the stuff that they had in there that they needed to get out. So go ahead. I mean, you know if it doesn't look good, you know you need to clean it, take care of it. It makes their neighborhood look unsightly. Loud music. One of my neighbors, she's not here. She said she might not make it, but she said she asked me, one of my constituents, to ask me to, I said it right again, didn't I? So one of my constituents, they wanted me to also bring up the fact that one of their neighbors, and I go talk to him a lot about it, you know, a lot of times when he see me walking towards it, he just go ahead and turn it down. Stop turning it up and you want to turn it down. And she even told me, she said, she's sure the police might be sick of her calling. I said, well, maybe he'll get sick of them coming over. So be mindful of your neighbors and be respectful, because everybody doesn't need to hear your music. So another good thing. The old Get-Go, my man Omar and Yusuf, his father, they dug the holes. I think, were they down yet? Were the tanks there? I know they were putting the tanks in there. I went in there.
The tanks are there.
Yeah, I went over there and I saw him one day. He was cleaning up, and I said, "Do you own it?" He said, "No." And he said, "I'm messing with you." So he went and he showed me. You know, it's gonna be nice, like the old Get-Go, food section and everything like that. So that should be soon. Like I said, that was the steps getting the tanks in there, so they're in the middle of that. So. Is it a Sunoco?
Sunoco.
Yeah, it was either Sunoco or Shell, but I think it's
Shit, I think so, because he said he owned a couple other ones. Yeah, so I think it's Sunoco. So, I'm sure I forgot something else, but I need to be quiet and not take up too much time. I yield my time.
Thank you. Mrs. Spinks.
Good evening. Talking about new businesses coming in. Finally, the old Chris's restaurant on Broadway. Finally, Yanni is going to be opening up Broadway Diner. But the problem that he's having is getting people. He had all kind of interviews all weekend long, and only 2 people showed up. It is a part-time job. If you aren't interested, he's taking interviews from 11 to 3 for the next couple of days. But they're trying to open up. It's beautiful inside, but it's where Chris's restaurant was on Broadway. It's right next to the Automall Bar, right next to the new veterinarian. So I was hoping, if you know of anybody, any kids or anybody that's looking for a part-time job, I know he does have cooks. He's looking for dishwashers, and he's looking for someone to work the cash register, and he's looking mainly for servers. So if you know somebody that wants a part-time job, make sure they go down to Broadway Diner, and they can call, or like I said, they can stop by. Let's see. Talking about park and recreation, Mike, are they the ones that put up, but they're very awesome, the new signs with the rules on them? I know Greencroft Park got one, and you can see it from the street. I was so excited because I've been begging. You know, a lot of people won't read those rules, but some people do. So I just hope we don't get graffiti on them. I'm watching them as much as I can, but whoever did that, thank them for doing that, because it looks real nice.
Yeah, that was the police department and Parks and Recreation worked to put those together. Those were installed at all of our city-owned parks. Some of the reason too is to very clearly identify what is permitted and what is not. In the event that PD does have to respond, it's clearly listed, and then we can address accordingly.
Very good, thank you. And I'd also, Mike, while I've got you, talked to you earlier about Kimball. A lot of people are putting out, which we normally, you can, put out couches or old chairs, or getting new furniture, or moving, or whatever. And they're putting out, what's happening with Kimball right now is they're short staffs, they're short of trucks. They have, or as used to, they had 2 people on the truck. So they have somebody, if they have furniture or something right now, most of them have 1 guy on the truck. So I noticed that I've had with one poor couch, this poor guy's trying to get rid of it. It's been on the street lawn for about 2 weeks. Mike, I have those. So if you have some furniture, be patient. If you can get somebody else, Mike, do you have you talked to them, or?
Yeah, we communicate with Kimball. If there's an address in question, if you could send those to me, or if a resident puts something out and it doesn't get collected, have them contact us immediately, and then we'll make a call. If it's, wrapped appropriately or whatnot, we can go ahead and advise Kimball, and they're pretty good. They can dispatch to their drivers and get it collected.
Yeah, no, so if you have mattresses especially, if you have mattresses, they will absolutely not pick them up if they're not wrapped. Sometimes couches and chairs, they will, but the gentleman with the leather couch, he went ahead and wrapped it. So I advise that you do, mattresses especially. Kind of piggybacking on what Mr. Smith said too, the speeding is crazy. I got an email last week, and it was actually happened to be, it's right on the border of my ward. It was actually Jeff's resident, and she knew the make and model of the car. I mean, just every day, very dangerous, flying down during buses and stuff. So please see something, say something. If you see somebody speeding down your street quite often, because we can't be there 24/7, please try to get the make and model and let us know what time. And our police department, that gives them a hands up too. So our guys are out there, they're writing tickets. Believe me, they're writing a bunch of tickets. But if you can help them out, but that way, the lady was so nice and so appreciative. Yeah, if you see speeding or something, Mike's still got that white SUV that flies from the end of Grand to one end from Center all the way, about 3 o'clock in the morning. So this weekend coming up, talking about trick or treat, we have the trunk or treat, which is kind of an annual thing at my church, the Church of Nazarene, at 365 Center Road. It's from 2 to 4. It's always really fun. Everybody decorates their cars. If it rains, we'll be moving inside. I, for the last 2 years, have done it picture booths. So bring your grandkids or your kids and come up and have a good time at the Church of Nazarene on Saturday from 2 to 4. And then this year, on Halloween, on October 31st, the Bedford Historical Society is doing something new. And our mayor has been so graciously persuaded to participate in this. This year, our elevator is not working at the Historical Society, which is not real good. We're working on it. I'm meeting with some people this week to get it up and going, because we have 3 stories. And there's, even to get into the building itself, you've got steps, you can't make them, you can't come in there. So some of our volunteers are not able to volunteer right now. So this year we're working on that. So this year we normally, on every floor, we give out candies. So this year we're gonna be doing ghost stories, and not scary ones, just, fun ones. And some of them is gonna be, was that true or not? So it'll be talking about the train station stuff, but it's gonna be held at the gazebo. And it's gonna be the same time as trick or treating, from 6 to 8. We will be giving out candy and some other things. If it rains, we'll go into the community room, which is in the old church. So we're kind of excited to try to do something a little bit different. And I know when I was little, I always liked that. That was a fun part of Halloween. I really don't celebrate Halloween as a holiday, but it's fun. And the ghost stories, like I said, as long as they're funny and they're not gonna be scary. But the mayor's gonna be telling a story. And I've got true story. I've got a couple that I'll be sharing, and we've got couple of guest people that are going to be stopping by. So 6 to 8, And then also this weekend on Saturday is our Spirit Walk, which is one of our big fundraisers. It's the Lantern Tour. Friday night is sold out. Saturday, October 26th, there is still a few tickets left, not many. I think the 4 p.m. show is sold out. I think there's a few left for 6 p.m. So if you're interested in doing the Spirit Walk this weekend, it's $25 for a single and $40 for a couple. You can call a museum. I said again, that is one of our fundraisers, and it's real fun. Let's see what else. Got the speeding, got Garbage. That's it. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Salvi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Visits to residents. Since the October 7th board report, I have visited residents in the ward, responded to residential concerns in person and by phone call. Thank you to the city personnel who have helped resolve or are in the process of resolving those issues. Or to residents can reach me by calling my home phone landline at 440-232-8964. The renovated Sunoco gas station at the corner of Northfield and Taft Avenue. The former Brown Sunoco gas station has reopened after a long renovation process. The new building is a clean and attractive addition to the neighborhood and the city. I would like to thank the new owners for not going cheap. They invested in and created an eye-appealing facility, which should be the standard for existing and new construction of commercial properties in Bedford. Samuel Marcus Trust commercial property at 506 Northfield Road. At the other end of the spectrum is this eyesore known as the Samuel Marcus Trust property, also known as Bay Market. Mike or John, has any litigation been filed yet regarding the lessee or lessor of the Bedford ordinance violations?
I don't believe it's been filed yet. They were given a final notice, which is what we're required to do.
Thank you. Residential properties. Many of the problem residential properties in Ward 2 are also rental properties owned by out-of-city or state individuals, corporations, or trusts. These outsiders often treat Bedford not as a living and breathing community, but as a commodity to be exploited. As long as tenants or other federal government or the federal government pays the rent, landlords too often ignore the problems their tenants cause neighbors, neighborhoods, and the city. Unfortunately, not all neighbor issues can be solved by the city. The city's primary enforcement tool is the legal process, which usually takes months, if not longer, when a tenant or owner refuses to comply with city ordinances. In short, there isn't a quick solution to this type of problem. However, the city can't assist you unless you notify your council representative or city manager about a neighbor issue, especially if you have knowledge of ordinance violations or suspect legal activity such as illegal narcotic sales or maintenance or of the property becomes an issue. Fire hydrant moved on High Street. Mike, can you give residents on High Street some indication when the final stage of the street repair will take place?
It's listed on the service department. They have that as far as the restoration. I don't have an exact timeline, but the roadway should be, like that area should be restored before the weather breaks.
Okay, thank you. Taft Park, thank you to the administration for recently installing new park rule signage I requested at the park. The enhanced signage gives visitors clear notice of park rules. The signage change should help the city prosecutor successfully prosecute court cases for violations at the park. Since my last report, I had to call BPD twice to have officers investigate 2 trespassing incidents at the park. Mike, when our police officers encounter trespassers at our parks after hours, do they follow certain enforcement protocols established by the chief of police?
Yes, but officers obviously have the ability to use their discretion. I know one individual who was present at the park actually went to the park because they were being followed and they were there for a safe, they were there, it turned out they went to a safe place. So that person was not cited even though they were there after hours. So our officers utilize their, their judgment. When things are in violation, citations are issued, sure.
Thank you. The the Universal Circus at Zach's Supercenter property. I spoke with one of the owners of Zach's Supercenter today, and I was told there is a verbal agreement between the parties that if all the city conditions are met, the Universal Circus event will run from November 28th to December 8th in Zach's Supercenter parking lot. Mike, is that your understanding?
Yes, we actually provided them with a full list of all of our requirements. A lot of those are set forth in city ordinances, but it's also, from a safety and security standpoint, it falls on the safety director, myself, but obviously in conjunction with our police chief and our fire chief. We provided them a list of all of the safety requirements that are necessary as far as staffing. We've provided them a list of all of this, both local and state codes as far as the temporary structures. Those plans were submitted. They are currently being reviewed by our plans examiner. We've also provided them with the list of our ordinances. We recently, I don't want to say recently, we updated our ordinances in 2016 that were previously put in place in 1947. Originally, there was like a $100 license fee. All of those, and it specifically identifies carnivals and circuses. There's requirements as far as a permit fee per day from the city manager's office. There's also insurance indemnity that they need to provide. They need to list the city as listed on their insurance. That has to have a minimum of $1 million coverage. So there's a lot of items. They were provided with all of that, and I'm scheduled to have a follow-up meeting with a representative tomorrow afternoon. But as of right now, yes, it is being rescheduled, assuming they're going to meet all of those bullet points. I think from our standpoint, the most important are obviously safety and security, both when they install the structure. And I will say that the plans that were submitted were very thorough, very professional. So we're hopeful that it checks all the boxes, and so far it has. We're not completed with that yet, but both our fire inspectors reviewing that and our plans examiner. But also, that needs to be established safely. But we also need to have the proper safety and security and EMS present for all of the shows. Because we're talking about thousands of people, and it's important that everybody has a good time and it's put on the right way.
Thank you, Mike. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Fluharty.
I just want to follow up on our last meeting. We had a resident get up talking about the old veterinarian place building over there on the corner of Interstate and Northfield. She was apparently seeing kids trying to break in or whatever. Windows were broke. Well, we went out there the next day, Mike and I, and there was no windows broke. And there's no way you can get in there unless you're a Spider-Man, because the only way you can get up is the second floor. And there's a door open up there, but that's it. So I don't know why we have people get up and talk about things that really didn't happen, but if you get up and say things, at least give us the right information before you come up here and say things. We have the other things we could be doing, but just so a follow-up, it was taken care of, and there's no problems with the building. Yeah, we have to work on getting that down, Mike. I know we're going through all that, but until then, it's pretty secure. So I just want to follow up on that to let everybody know that it's been taken care of in the report.
Thank you. Let's get into our extensive new business. Ordinance number 59-24.
Is an ordinance allowing employee participants to make insurance plan premium contributions on a pre-tax basis for the calendar year 2025 through Health Equity Wage Works and declaring an emergency.
A motion for suspension. Spink, second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Smith, second by Asbury. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mayor. This is called the premium only plan, which allows employees to not be taxed on those dollars that they earn, that they pay towards their insurances, eligible insurance plans. And we approve this every year.
Yeah, that's a state.
Yeah, this is part of IRS Section 125.
Federal. Okay. Yeah, we do that every year. They've been doing it since I was on there. Call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Now we come to hearing of citizens. If you wish to speak, please come forward, state your name, your address, and your comment.
Council, how are you? My name is Kathy Barbour. I live at 172 Best, and I just have a quick comment. I'm a 34-year veteran of the Postal Service. I was also the political mail coordinator in September. I got a new job in September, so August and September. So I was responsible for checking all the political mail that came in. I had to go around the entire building. And I can assure you that the ballots go out as soon as they come in. And
I
if you
appreciate
mail them on
that.
time, just like you would mail your bills, they will get 6 blocks over to the the voting place.
I'll trust you.
There are sometimes some customers that forget to put a stamp on or don't put enough stamps on, but we still agree with the Board of Elections to deliver those letters anyway. So they've had meetings at work about that. I'm downtown at the Main, and I trained someone else to do that job after I left. I used to be right here at Bedford Post Office from 2013 to 2020. So I just want you to know that they are taking special care of the ballots this year. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So you can also drop them in the box if you do wait till the last minute, drive up to the Board of Elections and drop your ballot in their mailbox for free, no stamp.
Yeah, we miss your smiling face down there. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Diane Dorco. I live at 22800 Rockside Road in Barrington Apartments. And I have some concerns about turning into the Barrington Apartments with the marijuana store across the street. It's a little bit hard if you're going west and the traffic, if you're going east and the traffic's coming west, you're trying to go in, you can't see cars coming, and I'm pretty worried. I think they should, I don't know how you go about getting a light there, but I don't know if you should look into that.
Yeah, I don't
From a
think
traffic standpoint is your concern, right?
Right, the traffic standpoint
increased traffic.
with the Barrington Apartments there, and right across the street is a marijuana store. And if you're coming east, going to the west, and the cars are going the other way, and you're trying to turn in to the Barrington Apartments, you can't see around the cars.
Okay.
And especially if it's a big car or truck and you have a little car, it's hard to see around if you're going to the east and they're coming to the west. You're trying to get into Barrington Apartments, which is off to the north side.
north side of Rockside.
North side of Rockside.
Oh, are we
So
gonna have
There's been a lot of close calls that I've come trying to get into my apartments. Some of the other residents have been saying that they have concerns there too.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I have a motion for adjournment by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for coming.